Hey cats, it's your midsole man EDDBUD here. Today some comparisons up against the soft and very nimble New Balance FUELLCELL REBEL V5. How does it hold up against some of the other competitors? We're talking the ASICS NOVABLAST 5, the new PUMA Velocity NITRO 4, and Old Faithful, the ADIDAS ADIZERO EVO SL. It's a really good matchup today guys, let's get to it. Thanks for joining me on the channel, it is always appreciated. If you're new here, please do hit that subscribe button for loads more shoe related content. Also give this video a thumbs up, like, and drop us a comment as well to help with that YouTube algorithm. Dankeschön. Stats up first for you today on these, presented in my typical Tim Gross style spreadsheet. And if you don't know who Tim Gross is, what are you doing? My first observation here is the Rebel's a much lower stack than stuff like the NOVABLAST 5 or the EVO SL, and it's by some margin too, though the EVO isn't all that much heavier than the New Balance shoe. I did notice through my newly taken measurements here, my UK 11 or US 11.5, the Rebel 5 is compressed by about 2 mil since I got it out of the box. Haven't put all that many miles into them. They are flattening at quite a staggering rate. I know Andy the FOD runner's had similar issues with the Rebel 5. He just found it to go flat a little bit quick, and that's exactly what I'm finding here. I guess that's what you get from a super compressive foam. It's light and soft at Short A 18, which is 10 lower than the average across all shoes I've tested on the channel over the years. It's also the most expensive of the shoes in today's video by about a $5 over the NOVABLAST 5. I'm not sure what it is, but there seems to be a bit of a premium tax placed on New Balance shoes over here in the UK. It just means that they're not quite as attractive as a lot of the other models. I'm not sure why that premium's there. If anybody's got any ideas, let me know in the comments. The New Balance has the lowest drop here, and it's the second widest up front, only beaten by the ASICS NOVABLAST 5. Just a quick disclaimer here, the Puma and the ASICS shoes have been sent to me for review by the companies themselves, but they're not paying me to make this video, nor will they get to see any of my views before my valued viewers get to see them. I bought the EVO SL and the New Balance shoes with my own cash. So first up today, the Velocity NITRO 4 from Puma. I think it's probably the most comparable in terms of stats to the Rebel 5, though it comes in 31 quid or Earth credits cheaper here in the UK than this model. Stacks are similar. The foam is soft here in the Puma. I mean, there's very few foams that are as soft as the FUELLCELL stuff we've got here in the Rebel 5. I mean, it's one of the most compressive foams that I've tried on the channel. The Endorphin Elite 2 with its Incredi-Run in formula is like the softest. That is just like quicksand. The Puma certainly a little bit more resilient across the footbed due to that nitro material that we have here. It springs back to form a little bit quicker, and it's oddly easier to run faster in the Puma. It's just not quite as squashy and sort of spongy, I suppose. The New Balance is a little bit lighter on foot, but there's not much in it in fairness, but at pace the Puma's just more fun and engaging. Otherwise, I have to say I really love the aesthetic look of the Rebel 5, and it's a great lockdown as well on top of the foot, much better than the V4. I mean, they could have improved the Puma slightly from the aspect of like removing the overlays and some of the other extra materials here, but they don't detract too much from the ride. Outsole wise, there's no comparison here. The Puma grip is much more effective in wet weather on all fronts really. You've got improved traction, certainly from cornering, and there's a little bit more of it here. If you're looking at this from a sort of daily perspective, more reliable cross weather traction here in the Puma than over the Rebel. There's loads of exposed midsole creasing going on here as well. The Puma grip just seems to be superior overall. We know that that nitro material lasts the test of time as well in some sort of longer term testing, so unless you want like that super compressive feel in your daily shoe, I think the Puma is my choice this time without a doubt. And people always look at cost, don't they? And in the UK this one's just way better value than the Rebel 5. Just got a lot more to offer. against the NOVABLAST 5, this time from ASICS. There's quite the difference in stack between these two shoes, where I got my apparatus out and actually tested these now at their current sort of state. There's a lot of early compression here from that fuel cell material, but the ASICS shoe just keeps on giving. I think it really benefits from that Flight Foam Blast Max midsole material we have here. It's softer again than Flight Foam Blast Plus, but is a nice return to form here. It's quite a responsive material and very durable too. There's quite the difference between the weight of these two. This one's coming in at just under 300 grams for my UK 11, about 50 grams less weight here in the Rebel 5. They've got an additional 6mm of heel stack here in the NOVABLAST 5. It's noticeable on longer efforts, and I think perhaps if you're a heavier built runner, then the ASICS shoe might be a better bet. And it also means it's a little bit more versatile when it comes to recovery or easy paced efforts. I did notice in a recent review that Kafuzi did on the Rebel 5 that a lot of people were saying there wasn't enough stack here to do longer runs. I think it's a little bit down to the runner. If you're a lighter built runner, you'll be able to get loads of miles out of this. It'll be a little bit more of a versatile shoe for you. I can see why a few heavier built runners might scoff at the amount of compression you've got here. If you're doing longer, slower efforts, then the Rebel 5 could work fine for you if you're a lighter weight runner. But I think it's horses for courses here, and you know, one person's goat shoe isn't necessarily going to be somebody else's. The ASICS is slightly more padded in the upper here. There's more materials. It feels like a slightly more plush feel. I see the Rebel 5 as a little bit like a sort of Steptoe and Son type shoe, a bit of a bone shaker for some people, I suppose. Steptoe and Son is a UK series, probably not all that politically correct. It was around in the 1960s. It followed a father and son who were like a rag and bone men. They used to go around in the horse and cart. So a bit lower to the floor here, not as much suspension. It's certainly a bit more minimal. I think the issue here is that many will find that that's just perhaps not quite enough for a daily use type shoe. It's more in terms of the return you get back from the foam here, and I just find I get a lot more here from Flight Foam Blast Max. The NOVABLAST 5's just delivering a lot more versatility for less cash here. This is £5 cheaper here in the UK than the Rebel 5. Means once again that the Rebel's just a bit of a niche shoe. It's only going to appeal to certain people. It'll tick a few boxes in the shoe rotation, but I think the NOVABLAST 5 does a lot more for the money. And I mean, if this is a little bit too heavy for you, then you probably already have bought the next shoe on this list. And that is the EVO SL from ADIDAS. Now, we all know how much people love this shoe. There's loads and loads of different colorways of it available now. Initially, I was a bit irritated by ADIDAS putting this up as like a drawer and making it, you know, hard to get hold of. That isn't the case anymore. There's a whole menagerie of colors. It's easily becoming the Ultra Boost of the 2020s, and I think that's probably a good thing for the Three Stripe brand. We got a lot more stack in the heel here over the Rebel 5. There's about 7mm extra stack here, more aggressive drop, and the midsole's very resilient with that Light Strike Pro material. We don't have the early compression here that we've got in the fuel cell Rebel 5. In fact, the EVO SL is just improving mile after mile. It seems to get better, whereas this is going the other way. Light Strike Pro is now really responsive here, very consistent cushion across the foot, and that shank that we have provides a little bit of snappiness, so it's not too sort of flexible. There is absolutely no rigidity here in the fuel cell material. It's just like a big slab of it. Doesn't feel quite as subtle in terms of the implementation. The uppers are very similar here actually between the two shoes. You've got that mesh-like material, quite flexible, though quite conforming. One issue I have found with the Rebel, I shall need to hold the shoe up quite closely for you to see it. I don't know if you can see this sort of dent here that we've got. Well, there's some reinforcement to the upper which ends right here, and I get this kind of piece that's jutting into my toes. It's really quite irritating, and it really does detract from the overall upper comfort. I did have to switch out the laces on my pair of the EVO SL, but they're absolutely smashing now. Really great lockdown in this shoe. The other issue I have with the fit of the New Balance option is the insole. It's really quite slippery on top. Kind of feel like your foot's moving towards the front of the shoe when you're running running at pace in this one, which isn't ideal. Don't get that problem here in the EVO SL. Outside wise, I see why some people have a bit of a problem with the flat and smooth continental rubber we've got in the EVO SL, but unless you're running on something other than road and pavement, you know, like in a flood or something, you're not going to get too many problems. And when you consider that the ADIDAS shoe's only 10 grams heavier and it's coming in 11 quid cheaper here in the UK, it makes the Rebel 5 a real hard sell. I do love my Rebel 5 from a Steve Jobs working at home remotely from my computer type of vibe. It's fine for some easier miles, perhaps when your legs are a bit tired, you want to go out in the stroller with your very excited 5-year-old, but it's not a patch on the performance that I'm getting from the ADIZERO EVO SL, even after lots of miles. I think this shoe could be one of the best all-round options that we've had for a long time, and it's at a price where people are actually gonna gamble a little bit and give it a try. It's almost like Adidas said, you know, we need a new Ultra Boost that's kind of been and gone. Let's wreck the market and flood it with loads of pairs of these. People love them, and it's easy to see why. Little else offers this level of tech for the price. So easy win there for the EVO SL over the Rebel 5. So that's my comparison thoughts on this one from New Balance. There are some things I like about it. Certainly aesthetically, I think it's a great looking shoe. But after 40 miles of running in it and wearing it for some lifestyle stuff, it's kind of lost its luster very quickly. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this video today down in the comments. Musical interlude time. I've been listening to a fantastic track from Jonathan Richman called That Summer Feeling. You can check it out on Jonathan's album, which is called Jonathan. I think with my stripy top, I've kind of channeling the vibe of Jonathan Richman today. Really love the beautiful laid back instrumentation on this track, and it does remind you of those early summer days when you're little and you got no responsibilities and no worries. You go and do things because you want to rather than because you ought to. There's some beautiful analogies in the lyrics here. Jonathan Richman's lyrics are always absolutely fantastic, always on point, very naive quality to them, but because of that, they feel true, they feel believable, and that's true for many of his tracks that he's released over the years. I love his expressive delivery as well of the lyrics. It's always really refreshing to hear that. It doesn't feel forced, it feels like he's singing because he really wants to sing that, he believes it, and how many vocalists can you say that about these days? Go and check this one out from the album Jonathan. It's called That Summer Feeling by Jonathan Richman. Thanks for tuning in, people. Always appreciated. If you're one of the many people that are watching but haven't subscribed, please do that. It really does help out. I want to get one of those plaques, you know, so I can, you know, look at it and point at it and say, look, I made loads of videos on YouTube and they gave me this plaque for all that hard work. Also, give this video a thumbs up, like, and drop us a comment down below. My name's EDDBUD, and I'll be seeing you